Hey, Alex, how did the interview go?
I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
I knew it. Let's meet up later to celebrate.
And Diego.
Mom! I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow. feedingamerica.org/actnow. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the new 101.7 The Truth, founded in partnership with Associated Bank. Your money works here. 101.7 FM, 1510 AM, WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee. Locally owned Good Karma brand station.
It's time! It's time! It's beta time!
You are watching a master at work.
Truth Nation, get ready for the greatest 60 minutes in radio, giving you his authentic and bold opinions, bringing you all the information, entertainment, and conversations you gotta hear. From local issues to trending topics and headline news, it is time for Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, 1017thetruth.com, and streaming live on YouTube. Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, here is your award-winning host, Kyle Wallace.
What up? What it do? What it is? It is Monday, a great Monday, right here on Truth to Power on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Sherwin let me know there's some trolls out there, so I'm already watching for y'all on the YouTube. Don't try me, because I ain't the one to try. Don't try me, try what they say. Try Jesus, try God. Was that what it was, DJ Brother Z? Yeah, and I ain't the one. But 833-212-1017, that is the Truth Talk, the text line. Make sure you join in on the conversation today as we're getting geared up for it. A big election, an election tomorrow. I have on my vote, vote, vote shirt because I think it's important to make sure that people get out and vote, and the importance of voting in these spring elections, because we put so much energy behind the general election, when the presidential election, when, yes, the presidential election is having a little bit of a bigger impact than typically, with how many people are being laid off from their jobs in the federal government and how many people are going to be losing some of their benefits that they have. But locally, we have these elections that we have to be aware of. So shout out to everybody on 101.7 The Truth, Sherwin Hughes, Dr. Ken Harris, Tori Lowe for talking about the things that are happening local. Ben and Carrie for Jamming with Juice. Shout out to every show for talking about things that are happening local, because it's important to be informed around these times. We need to have the same energy that we have when we're talking about Kamala Harris, and we're talking about Joe Biden, and we're talking about Tammy Baldwin and Eric Hovde and Donald Trump. The same energy that we have during those general elections, we need to make sure that's transferable to these other elections, right? Because these other elections that are local elections impact us greater on a day-to-day basis. So we need to make sure that we find it in us to make sure that we go out and vote. We vote every single election. It's important. It is very, very important. Even the ones that tomorrow on your ballot where you'll only see one candidate, and we'll definitely talk about that as well. But again, this is Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Shout out to my boy DJ Brother Z holding it down. As always, you can watch and stream us live on YouTube, 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. That's 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. Watch and stream us live. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure you hit that like button so you are always up to date on everything going on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Now, today, as always, we're coming off a weekend, so you know I always got to kick it off with the weekend recap right here on Truth to Power.
Truth Nation, we know you have a busy life, and the weekend went by too fast. If you missed any of the headline stories, no worries. We got you covered on the top stories you may have missed. Tap in for the weekend recap on Truth to Power. Kyle. Tell Truth Nation the biggest headlines they need to know.
Truth Nation, the biggest headlines y'all need to know. I got you covered. It was a busy, long weekend. I know y'all had a lot of things going on. Matter of fact, Truth Nation, I tried something called a liquid diet. I tried a liquid diet 2 of the last 3 days, and let me tell y'all, DJ Brother, guess how much weight I lost in 2 days, 3 days?
10 pounds.
6 pounds. I wish it was 10 pounds. I lost 6 pounds. 6 pounds on a liquid diet. And let me tell you, it was miserable, but I was able to test my mental fortitude. So it was pretty fun to do that. But the weekend recap is not about me and my liquid diet and me trying to get my body ready for the summer, but it's about making sure y'all are informed on all of the top stories that happened over the weekend. And the number one story that I heard over the weekend I have to tell you all about is the fact that Tony Evers is proposing to close a prison and also renovate prisons around the state of Wisconsin. Yes, the reason why that is big news is because of the fact that it's important for us to look into the renovation of these prisons and also reducing of these prisons. And I didn't realize when I read the article that I found in the Journal Sentinel is that Waupun, that we all have probably heard about Waupun was built in 1898. That prison Waupun was built in 1851. That prison facility was built before the Civil War. I just needed y'all to understand. So that prison facility that houses a lot of incarcerated individuals was built in the 1850s. Yeah, it's definitely haunted. It's a lot of weird stuff going on up there. That's why everybody probably going crazy and loco on that mug. But then on top of that, they're also proposing closing the Green Bay Correctional Facility, which was built in 1898. These are crumbling facilities that have a lot of different issues. And so Tony Evers did recommend for that to be taken care of in a $500 million proposal. But then on top of that, something that was significant as well is, in addition to that, they are looking to close Lincoln Hills, which Lincoln Hills has been filled with controversy, filled with issues for years and years. And I think this is a step in the right direction, just overall shedding more light on some of the issues that we have inside of the prison population. And so what really makes me excited about the fact that they're closing this is that they're looking to put more dollars back into these buildings that help individuals, right? And so when you look at Lincoln Hills and what it did, and now they're going to build a facility here in Milwaukee, or in the process of building a facility here in Milwaukee, you had a lot of issues, right? You have too many jail deaths. You have entirely too many inmates getting into it with guards. You look specifically at Lincoln Hills, I want to say it was about a year or two ago, where a counselor was at Lincoln Hills and was beat up and ended up dying from the injuries that they had inside of Lincoln Hills, right? So you have counselors dying, you have inmates dying, you have just poor conditions inside these places. And so what, for me, that was shocking, because I just, if you don't do all the research, you don't know, is Tony Evers is trying to reduce the recidivism rate, basically having less people go back to prison, less people go back to jails. And what I did not realize, I didn't even look into it, is that 90% of incarcerated individuals end up out of jail, right? And so when you think about that, if 90% of people who are going into this institution, this correctional institution, are eventually going to be, free citizens in America, free citizens in Wisconsin, I think there needs to be some emphasis in not only making sure they're going to be good when they get out, but training individuals. And that's what Tony Evers is trying to do in his budget. He'll talk more about it tomorrow night when he releases his budget, and he talks about his budget. And the big thing about this that I really hope that Republicans and Democrats can come together on for this is the fact that there needs to be more investment in the fact of, we can't sit here and look at prison as a timeout, right? We can't have these people going to prison, sitting in a corner, and not doing anything. When they go to prison, we need to think about rehabilitating these individuals, right? Getting them prepared to go be in civilization. Yes, did they make a mistake? Absolutely. Absolutely made a mistake. But how can you prepare somebody to go on to have a better life? It's by giving them some type of job skills, training them, workforce training, right? They should be consistently getting workforce training inside of there. They should be making sure if they don't have their GED, they should be making sure they're getting their GED. But we need to make sure we need to be investing a lot of resources, not only to making sure that less people are going back to jail, but also providing them with enough guards that they need, providing them with the conditions that they need, because we've heard Tory Lowe on the Tory Lowe Show talk about some of the tragedies that have happened inside of Milwaukee County Jail, which is right down the street from where we are broadcasting at in the 3rd Street Market Hall. And so I think it is imperative that we listen to what's going on and that we advocate for a better judicial system, but also a better correctional facility for people, because at the end of the day, these people might have done a crime, but they're still human beings, even the disgusting people. And I saw a disgusting story I can't even talk about, but we need to make sure that we're trying to rehabilitate people. So that's why I'm excited about this $500 million investment that looks like it's going to have bipartisan support, which is really, really important, because I think it's important for us to actually think about those who are incarcerated individuals, because they are human beings as well, and being able to give them the dignity that most of them do deserve, but also helping them have a career when they get out is so important, because it's tough. It's tough after you get out. So that is story number one. The second story that I have is, as I was kind of doing my strolls looking through things, I saw on a national scale, Vice President J.D. Vance was at the Munich Security Conference on Friday, where he blasted Europe over their immigration policy and their censorship of far-right speech, claiming that Russia and China are not the biggest threat to Europe, but it is actually migrants and immigration that are the biggest threat to Europe. And I scratch my head, and I just think to myself, boy, oh boy, what world are we living in? But I thought this was an important story to bring up, because I think it's interesting for a man such as J.D. Vance, who is married to an immigrant himself, or I shouldn't say immigrant, married to an Indian woman. I don't know how her family got here, but I know her family wasn't originally from here. But a man who is married to an Indian woman, who has Indian children, despite of what he will try to tell you. If he tells you he has white children, that's not factual. To be talking bad about immigrants when he married into a family that comes from immigration as well. And so I think it's pretty messed up for that, but really it goes beyond that. And again, I'm here to educate people on what I feel they should know. And in addition to that, during that time where he was in Germany, in Munich, he also talked about something that concerned me as well, is that he proudly met with a far-right extremist German party that is looking to try to lead the country of Germany. See, for me, that's a little bit dangerous, because I know what far-right extremists are, and I know what that means in Germany. And so with this approach that he has, he is basically openly supporting, and not just him, but the Trump administration is openly supporting a party that sympathizes with Nazi Germany. Right? They have gone as far to say Elon Musk, and I mean, if Elon Musk says it, that means the Trump administration believes it, believes that it's time for Germany to move past what happened in the past and not think about it. And one thing as an African American in this country, what I know is when you hear people start talking about moving past and not looking backwards and looking forward, that's how you end up with textbooks in different places that talk about slavery as being indentured servants, right? That try to minimize what slavery actually was, as if people weren't in bondage, or people weren't chained up, as people weren't being beaten, as people weren't being hung from trees, right? So whenever you hear people talk about moving forward, and they're not having a conversation to move forward with the groups that were actually on the negative sides of some of these atrocities, that's what you know the real focus is on. The real focus is on them moving forward and ignoring their history, right? So they don't have to live with that anymore. They don't have to worry about that. So I just thought that was really concerning that J.D. Vance met with a far-right extremist group in Germany that is openly promotes Nazism, and people in the party even said, in that far-right party, somebody actually even said that they even said, I gotta find this quote. It was a quote that they, here it is. A Nazi officer, excuse me, let me get that correct. The individual who was a former press officer is part of this far-right German party that J.D. Vance supported, commented on migrants saying, "We can always shoot migrants later or gas them as you wish. It doesn't matter to him." That is something that somebody who was a former communications director for this party said that. Now, I don't know if everybody knows their history, but they shot Jews and blacks in these camps that they had, in Holocaust camps, and he also has something called gas chambers. So when somebody is openly saying things like that, we should all be concerned. It should throw a real big red flag about what is to come here in this country and what could come globally. So I just wanted to make sure people were aware of the fact that this Nazi, or I shouldn't say Nazi, this far-right extremist party that sympathizes with Nazis is actually being supported by the Trump administration, being supported by Elon Musk, and actually had the opportunity to meet with Vice President J.D. Vance. And another one of the things that they said is the party is monitored by the country's domestic intelligence agency for suspected extremism. Their party leader, Bjorn Höcke, has twice been found guilty by a German court of purposely employing Nazi rhetoric. He has appealed the rulings, and in May, the party's top candidate, Maximilian Krause, was forced to withdraw a campaign after he told an Italian newspaper that the SS, the Nazis' main paramilitary force, were not all criminals. So we just got to be careful, y'all. We just absolutely have to be careful. That's what I just want to make people aware of what is actually happening, because a lot of us may not have heard this story, but I think what we need to understand is that the Trump administration is supporting far-right extremists who sympathize with Nazi Germany. Y'all can do your own research, but I just feel like I need to get that out there. Again, 833-212-1017. This is Truth to Power, going through our weekend recap. And the last story that I wanted to recap on is the fact that MPS is out of school today, but they are not out of the news today, because today is the day that MPS is supposed to have SRO officers back inside of the schools. Now, MPS is off today. They're off tomorrow, off today for President's Day, off tomorrow because it is Election Day. So typically they have off on Election Day. So this is going to be a winter break here for the students. But come Wednesday, there's supposed to be officers in the school, but according to reports, they do have a court date today at 3:30 for them to basically say why they're not going to have officers in school. So keep your ears out on that. Personally, I believe that I don't mind there being officers inside the schools. I just don't like the way that it was forced down the throats of MPS. I feel like the mayor threw MPS under the bus, trying to make them fund something they did not ask for. But at the end of the day, if these officers can help create a positive environment, and again, I talked about it before, I feel like the schools, the parents, the kids, everybody should have input on who these officers are, and they should have guidelines of what they expect from these officers as well. So 833-212-1017. That is the weekend recap. But when we come back, there is a big election tomorrow, and we're going to talk about all that you need to know for the upcoming election. We're going to talk about the state superintendent race. We're also going to talk about the state Supreme Court race as well, while also talking a little bit about choice in charter schools. So keep it locked. You're listening to Truth to Power right here with Kyle Wallace on the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
More of Truth to Power is next on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
This is 1017 The Truth, Kyle Wallace, and the time is now, Milwaukee. Truth to Power is your platform, and on my show, our community always has a voice. There is no topic that is off limits, and I always give you my authentic opinions on how I feel, because keeping it real is the only way I know how to get down. Listen to Truth to Power with me, Kyle Wallace, every day from noon to 1 p.m. on the award-winning 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on YouTube at 1017 The Truth. Milwaukee Black Talk.
Associated Bank knows your small business isn't just a venture. It's your dream and a vital part of the community. And we're not just a bank. We're your neighbors. We're looking out for you. That's why Associated Bank offers quick online applications and approvals with funding in as fast as 1 business day, checking with no minimum balances or maintenance fees, and prompt customer service. Explore our products at associatedbank.com/business or visit a branch for more details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
American Family Insurance is a lot like Captain America. He protects the world.
It's just doing my job.
And we help protect your dreams with amazing auto and home coverage. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com. And see Marvel Studios' Captain America: Brave New World.
Suit up. We need to move.
In theaters February 14th. This film is not yet rated.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Great impressions will exceed your expectations. Great impressions, perceptions, everything.
At Great Impressions Graphics and Printing, they've been proudly serving the community for over 26 years. From their location at the corner of 54th and Burleigh in Milwaukee, their dedication to quality and customer satisfaction has made them a trusted name in printing and design. Great Impressions offer a wide range of services, including banners, posters, yard signs, business cards, programs, and postcards. Plus, they specialize in custom apparel printing, perfect for family reunions, sports outings, business promotions, and more. For your next project, visit greatimpress.com. That's greatimpress.com. Great Impressions. They're here when you need them.
Great impressions, perceptions, everything.
It is Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
Do you know where you're going to? Do you like the
Straight.
Me and my best friend, 7-Eleven. We can go legend. 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 Yeah. Me and my best friend, 7-Eleven. Yeah. We can go legend. We can go legend. Yeah. We can go legend.
The award-winning 1017 The Truth proudly celebrates Black excellence in the most monumental moments in our history. Tune in all month long as we celebrate the voices, stories, and achievements that have shaped history and inspired the future. 1017 The Truth celebration of Black History Month is sponsored by Milwaukee College Prep, Educators Credit Union, the Freighter in the Medical College of Wisconsin, and American Family Insurance. This is Truth to Power right here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I am Kyle Wallace, taking you through the next 40 minutes of Truth to Power. Make sure you watch and stream live on YouTube. That's 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. Make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe button. Also, if you want to join in on the conversation, definitely do that by tapping in at 833-212-1017. That's 833-212-1017 as we have a conversation about the election that is tomorrow. Again, on YouTube, you will see my vote, vote, vote shirt because I'm big on voting. Like, I believe everybody should utilize their voice to vote, not just because of what our, the Civil Rights Act and the individuals that fought hard for us to be able to have our right to vote, simply because of the fact that our voices need to be heard, right? We can't complain if we don't utilize our voice, right? And so being able to utilize your voice means being able to vote and being able to hold people accountable. If you didn't vote for any of these elected officials, then I really don't want to hear you complain because you did not utilize your actual right to vote here in the state of Wisconsin. But 833-212-1017, that is the Truth Talk to text line. And again, election day is tomorrow for the spring election. And a lot of y'all ballots going to look real light, real light come tomorrow because there's not a lot on the ballot. But before we get to that, 833-212-1017. Martin has some comments on MPS. What are your thoughts and comments about MPS? And I'm assuming this has to do with the security officers, MPD officers being put back into schools with today being the deadline.
Yeah, just a little touch of that. The thing I don't understand is that, a lot of things that go on in those schools is not like it was when we came up. It's a lot of underworld things that go on in those schools. And we're looking after the protection of our kids. That shouldn't even be a debate, an argument, or whatever they want to say, because that's for the best interest of the kids, And I don't understand that one. But
you don't understand which way? You don't understand why they are going to be in the school or why people are complaining about them being in the school?
Why they're complaining,
Got it.
Because that's our future. They shouldn't complain about something that's going to help and look out for the future, okay? But on the other hand, if you're not teaching them and making them smart, you're not looking out for them either. So I can kind of respect that,
Yeah, I feel you.
So the producer has something for you, and it's something on the line that's been there since Friday morning. So that I was telling you about, the little disc. So you got it in your hands, my man. I'll be looking forward to hearing about you on the show with it, and I appreciate you.
Sounds good. I appreciate that. DJ Brother Z, you are the producer, and what disc am I supposed to have in my hand?
I have no idea what he's talking about.
All right, sounds good. Maybe it's something I got to think a little bit deeper for, because if you go on 1017 The Truth on YouTube, I ain't got nothing in my hands. But you know what? I don't know about y'all. Have you been drier this winter? My hands have been extra dry this winter. Every time I wash my hands, all of a sudden I got some ash, and so I've been having to moisturize. So I don't know if that's been me or somebody else or anybody else experienced that, but I've been having to moisturize extra this year. I don't like being ashy. But 833-212-1017, that's the Truth Talk to text line. Make sure y'all hit up and watch us live on YouTube. We are streaming live on YouTube, 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. Now, I want to get into this election conversation, and we're going to start off with, again, this is not a race that is on your ballot tomorrow, but I feel like this is a consequential race that is coming up here in the state of Wisconsin, and it's the state Supreme Court. Yes, the Wisconsin State Supreme Court race. Election day is tomorrow. This will not be on your ballot. This will be on your ballot come, I believe, April, when we actually have our general election for the spring. It is so important that we get out and we vote for the state Supreme Court because I want to reiterate, we should not just be voting in presidential elections. We need to vote in all elections. And with the Wisconsin State Supreme Court race, it's a huge one because right now it is 4-3. It leans Democratic, right? And so for me, it's important because Justice Ann Walsh Bradley is stepping down, and she is no longer going to be on the state Supreme Court, or her term is up. And so running in for her seat is Democratic or Dem, it's supposed to be nonpartisan. Democrat-supported Susan Crawford and Republican-supported Brad Schimmel, right? And so those are the two people who are running, and I really encourage everybody to educate themselves. Now, I'm just going to let y'all know what I'm voting for and what I advocate for, because overall, something that really bothered me, has been bothering me since Scott Walker was elected back in the day, was the fact that Wisconsin used to be a pretty purple state, still is a purple state. When you talk about these presidential elections, and you're talking about usually less than 30,000 votes that separate, Trump from Clinton, or Biden from Trump, or Trump from Kamala Harris, when you're talking about that thin, razor thin of a margin, that purpleness of the state should be reflected in our maps that we have, our assembly maps, our state maps, right? Those individuals on a local level who end up making decisions on what happens for us day to day. And those individuals are the ones that allow for our taxes to be raised, for our our local sales taxes to be raised. Those are the individuals that allow for that, right? And so here in the state of Wisconsin, we've had extremely gerrymandered maps for many, many years, up until recently. And why I say up until recently, because there was a challenge to the maps, and the challenge was sent to Democratic-led state Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court struck down the maps in order for the Republicans and Democrats, or whoever, the legislator, to create new maps, assembly to create new maps. And with that, Tony Evers put together a Fair Maps Commission, and he came up with a fair map. And with the Fair Maps Commission, Tony Evers was able to find a map that still favored Republicans, because he created multiple maps. He created a map that he came up with a map that favored Republicans slightly, because Republicans are in more rural areas voting here, right? And so for me, when I look at that, yeah, it favors Republicans. That's perfectly fine, because if it reflects the state of Wisconsin, I'm okay with that. And what I find interesting is that for years and years and years, the Republican-led legislator in Scott Walker use these gerrymandered maps that disenfranchise people in, people of color in different voting blocks, and they basically took lines and they moved some people who voted blue out and put them in more blue areas and added more red in so it can lean to a different direction. They just absolutely took the power away from the people in voting, and basically created a map that basically dictated what our legislature, our assembly, our state senate would look like. And what I find interesting, and this is why it's important to educate ourselves, is the fact that when Tony Evers put that map up, and the Supreme Court said, if y'all don't create a map through the legislator, we're going to choose one of the maps Tony Evers put up. They got nervous, and they chose, instead of letting the state Supreme Court choose a map, they decided to choose one of Tony Evers' maps, which was an actually really balanced map. And so I say this all because that's something that matters to us, because when you have politicians who are just trying to take away power and utilize something called gerrymandering, which is used across this country as a way to basically disenfranchise voters, that upsets me. So knowing that we previously had a state Supreme Court that upheld gerrymandered maps, and now we have a state Supreme Court that allowed for maps not to be gerrymandered, which allow for our vote and our voice to be heard, that's something that I'm voting for, and that's something that Brad Schimmel did not support. And in addition to that, when it comes to, abortion rights, I am somebody who is pro-choice. I'm pro-choice, but I am not an advocate of abortion. I would not sit up here and tell anybody to get an abortion. I would say that's a personal decision. I would say for me, where I'm at in life, there's no way I would get an abortion. If I make a mistake doing something, that's a mistake I have to own up to. I worked entirely too hard in my life to sit here and ask somebody else to get an abortion. Now, again, I know it's controversial, where some people think it's only a woman's choice. I disagree with that. I think if it takes two people to make a baby, I think a man should definitely have a say in what happens with his seed as well, because if the baby is born, you're going to be put on child support, right? And so I think it's important to have that conversation, but I am not an advocate of abortion, but I am an advocate of pro-choice, because I believe each individual has their own right to decide what they want to do with the life of a child, right? And so that's why I'm an advocate of pro-choice. But again, I would not sit here and advocate for abortions whatsoever. But when I look at the state Supreme Court, you're looking at somebody in Brad Schimmel who actually would ban abortions, right, in the state of Wisconsin. And for me, I can't get down with that. And the last reason why I said I can't support Brad Schimmel, and I will be supporting Susan Crawford when the election does come up in April, is the fact that when you look at this election, again, this is a big election. And I was doing my research, and they asked Brad Schimmel about, gay marriage, right? And, would he uphold the rights for, LGBTQ families to get married, right? And he said that, he wasn't sure about it. He said he'll uphold the law. And so then they followed up and said, so, okay, if you had been the Attorney General in, let's say, Wisconsin in the 1950s, where interracial marriage was banned and was illegal in the state of Wisconsin, or I shouldn't say Wisconsin because I'm unsure. I think it's been talking generally. If it was banned in the state and you were Attorney General, would you uphold that ban of interracial marriage? And he said, unfortunately, that's the law, and my job is to uphold the law for interracial marriage. And so that's all I need to know about somebody's character, is the fact that he would rather say, oh, it's the law, than actually in basically offend somebody's civil rights, then do the right thing. So that's why I said I can't support somebody whatsoever that doesn't have a conscience and doesn't care about people. So that's why I cannot support Brad Schimmel. But you'll have your option to make that choice in April for the state Supreme Court race, 833-212-1017. That's the Truth Talk to text line. Also, make sure y'all watching Streamers Live, 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. That's 101.7 The Truth on YouTube, so you can watch and stream us live. But we have Black Conscious on the Talk to text line. Black Conscious, what are your thoughts on the election?
Well, you kind of hit one of my talking points with that interview they gave him, and that pretty much, like you said, told it all. And if you're paying attention, lately, everything they say they're not going to do, they wind up doing. So they lie right before us, and once they get in there, there's nothing we can do because they're elected. So, but that was the point I was going to make. Yeah. Also, you said something about, you're not pro, but if you make, that's not a mistake. If you knowing what happens if you go and do the thing without any protection.
Hey, like I said,
I'm just talking about from a male perspective, so that's not a really mistake. That was a choice. That's a choice we made.
I agree. I 100% agree. I think it's a choice we make as well, but I don't know about you, Black Conscious, but I just, for me, I just can't find myself telling other people what they should do with their bodies or what they should do.
I'm 100% with you on that one. I'm 100%. I back you up 100%. You made that decision not to protect yourself, nor did you find out she was protected. Nonetheless, you still went on. So I'm just saying, I wouldn't say that's a mistake.
Okay, I
that's
get it.
That's not a mistake.
No, I get it.
That was a choice you made.
I know. 100%.
And the other thing, we as Africans are naturally going to be dry with the heat in your house and the clothes you put on after this. So that's why. Also, if your hands are like that, watch the sanitizer you're using. They dry out the skin even faster.
I do think the soap we got here at our office is drying out my hands, because I wash my hands every time.
The sanitizer, too. Wash the skin around your nail bed from, sanitizing your hand. I found that to be very bad on our hands. But, yeah, brother, you're right on the spot with that, man. And I agree with you 100%.
I appreciate that.
Milwaukee.
Yes, sir, Black Conscious. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. 833-212-1017. That is the Truth Talk to text line. And again, I'm not going to get into that abortion conversation today, because that's a whole nother topic that we can definitely get into. I'm pretty firm on my stance with that one. Again, I'm always going to be pro-choice, but I'm always going to say kind of what Black Conscious said, is that that is a choice that you made, right? That is a choice that you made. So we shouldn't act like, oh my gosh, I got pregnant. Well, I mean, that's what happens, right? That's what God gave you the tools to do, is to be able to procreate and create life. Like, that's what it's for. So I am definitely one that anti-abortion, but definitely pro-choice. So 833-212-1017. That's the Truth Talk to text line. On the other side, when we come back, we got to talk about the election that is on the ballot tomorrow, and that is the election for the state superintendent race. Right now, incumbent Jill Underly is in, but she is in hot water, as a lot of people are not supporting her right now. But 833-212-1017, that's the Truth Talk to text line. On the other side, we'll talk about the state superintendent race. We'll also talk about school choice, public school funding, and my thoughts about who you should support, or who I'm supporting, coming tomorrow. You're listening to Truth to Power right here on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. I see your texts, I see your messages, I see your calls as well. We'll get that after the break.
More of Truth to Power is next on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The Greater Milwaukee Urban League is celebrating 105 years of legacy and impact. The 105th year milestone community engagement campaign is a mission-driven effort to support employment, education, advocacy, and entrepreneurship initiatives. Together, they can continue their impact and legacy. Join them in raising $1.5 million. Text 105 to 41444 to make a secure online donation today. Visit TMUL.org for more information.
Immerse yourself in a place where bold ideas are sought after, where all are encouraged to bring their personal flourish. Here, innovation is a way of life. In this city, the beat flows. Together, we're dancing to the rhythm. Forward. Now, it's your turn to grab hold of that energy, where you'll remember not just the meals, the celebrations, or the oncoming coast. What you'll remember is how we made you feel. Come experience Milwaukee, where fresh meets fearless every day.
Truth Nation, get ready to celebrate excellence, passion, and the power of community as we host our first annual Truth Community Awards on Friday, February 28th at Potawatomi Casino and Hotel. This will be a Truth family party where we will celebrate the unsung heroes of our community and we roll out the red carpet for those making a positive impact every day. Tickets are selling fast, so go to 1017thetruth.com today to make sure you do not miss out on the biggest celebration in Milwaukee. Tickets are only $25 and includes free food, free drinks, and free Truth giveaways. Don't miss an evening filled with entertainment, heartfelt stories, and celebrating our city with the 1017 The Truth team. Visit 1017thetruth.com right now to buy your tickets to our Truth Community Awards. That is 1017thetruth.com to secure your spot for a night of celebrating the excellence of our community. The Truth Community Awards is presented by Potawatomi Casino and Hotel and brought to you by the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
When a parent sees their child smile, they see hope. Aleem hoped that his son Rajib would have an easier life than he had. You see, Rajib, just like his father, was born with a cleft. But as a fisherman in a small village in Indonesia, the cost of surgery was out of reach. Their lives were transformed thanks to Smile Train, which sponsors free, life-changing cleft surgeries and other essential treatments. Rajib's surgery marked Smile Train's 2 millionth, and incredibly, Aleem's was the 2 million and first. Now, their smiles are a symbol of hope for children with clefts all over the world. 540 babies are born with a cleft each day, but through Smile Train, millions of lives have been changed. To learn more and support the global cleft community, visit smiletrain.org/learn. Smile Train, changing the world one smile at a time.
This Associated Bank Sports Update on 1017 The Truth is powered by ESPN Milwaukee. I'm Brandon Sneide. The NBA's Refresh All-Star Game took place on Sunday evening as Team OGs beat the Global Stars 41-25. Steph Curry scored 12 points and was awarded the Kobe Bryant Trophy as the All-Star MVP. Over to baseball, where the Milwaukee Brewers are gearing up for spring training and got some good news on their MVP and his health. Outfielder Christian Yelich discussing his rehab on his back surgery and when he hopes to be back in the starting lineup.
Yeah, I feel fine. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't be ready for opening day.
Tomorrow will mark the first full squad workout for the crew down in Arizona. And lastly, the UWM Panthers beat Northern Kentucky on Sunday 92-70. With the win, UWM improving to an overall record of 19-9. The Sports Update brought to you by Associated Bank, proudly supporting your hometown teams. Member FDIC.
This is Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
Truth Nation, one call, that's all with Gruber Law Offices. If you or a loved one is ever injured in an accident, do not hesitate to make one call, that's all, because they will truly handle the rest. I'm telling you this right now. If you are in an accident, don't fret. Call Gruber Law Offices because they will take care of you. They've been in the community for 35 plus years, and they have been helping people in our community whenever they are in a car accident. So again, if you or a loved one is ever injured in an accident, make that one call, that's all, to Gruber Law Office, because they provide the best care, the best service, and best representation, because that is their priority. With them being one of the largest personal injury law firms in the Midwest, you can definitely trust them to fight for you. And what I love about them is once they take up your case and you work with them, you pay no fee. You pay absolutely nothing until you win the case. Yes, until they win your case. Call them today at 414-276-6666. That's 414-276-6666, or visit them at gruber-law.com. It's one call, that's all, with Gruber Law Offices. It is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. And we're talking about Election Day is tomorrow. I got on the shirt. Make sure y'all go to 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. Vote, vote, vote. Make sure you use your power, your voice to vote tomorrow on Election Day. The big thing on the ballot is going to be the state superintendent race. And I'm going to just break down a little bit about these candidates and what my research has found on these three candidates. It's for you to make your own decision, but make sure you get out to vote. But before we go to that, 833-212-1017. Al, you're on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. What are your thoughts and comments on this conversation?
Well, what I was going to say is I'm going to make it a duty to vote tomorrow morning. But my question to you is why do people push all this rhetoric, but then when it hits their door, then they have their Jesus, they come into Jesus moment?
What?
I never
What do you
understand that. Well, you know how they pushing all this, this racism and everything, like they so untouchable. But then when everything go from sugar to sugar, honey, iced tea, and it start affecting their mother, their children, and everything they're pushing out in this world be used against them, now they're pushing a different tune. And I just find that to be kind of odd.
What example do you have? What triggered this?
Well, put it like this. You know how they push the racism, but let somebody use racism against their mother, their son, their daughter, and they start judging them as if they're a maggot or a piece of swine or something in the toilet. Then they will change their tune, but they don't have a problem. They don't have no problem with it coming from that oil thrashed tongue or them yellow crooked teeth that they push out here in this world. And while a lot of them grew up as dirt poor maggots, as if their mother and father knew how to read and write, which we all knew it was not. So a lot of them learn about their privilege because they got a taste of life. But a lot of them was born and urinated in buckets, and they picked them up and raised them, but they're pushing it as if they was born with a silver spoon in their mouth when really they came from a bloodline being born on paper plates.
All right. Thank you, Al. Thank you, Al. Not gonna lie, DJ Brother Z, I got a little lost there about being born on paper plates. Did you catch that one? Maybe I don't know if
It's Al.
Okay, I was trying to follow. I was definitely trying to follow. But 833-212-1017. Election Day is tomorrow, and what you will find in Wisconsin, Truth Nation, on your ballot tomorrow is the state superintendent race. And again, I encourage everybody to do their own research because I've been doing my own research. And so tomorrow you will find 3 different candidates on the list. You will find incumbent Jill Underly, who is currently running. She supported, she's been a Democrat before. Her challenger, Democrat Jeff Wright, more from the rural areas, and Republican-backed Brittany Kinzer. Now, this is an important election because we don't know what will happen with the Department of Education, right? That is the thing that, for me, when I think about this election, I think about who is going to be able to successfully manage what's going to be happening with the Department of Education, because I'm telling y'all this right now, it's going to be dismantled. Donald Trump is going to do the same thing to the Department of Education as soon as Linda McMahon, DJ Brother Z's favorite woman, Linda McMahon from WWE.
That is not my favorite.
You love Vince, don't you?
No.
Linda McMahon, wife of Vince McMahon from what used to be WWF, now is WWE, is being nominated and will be confirmed probably this week or early next week as the new Department of Education. And she has already said that she is all good with basically the dismantling of the Department of Education. And so for me, I was curious about how these candidates would respond to the potential dismantling of that. And Kinzer said of the dismantling, she's supported by Republicans. She said she is fine with the elimination of the Department of Education as long as the state and DPI are getting funds needed to support the school. See, when I hear that, I basically hear about white privilege of thinking that just as long as we get funding, we'll be absolutely fine. See, that's the issue that I have, is that the Department of Education is much more than just getting funding. Department of Education also ensures that students that have certain disabilities, learning disabilities, students for Title IX, also for students of color, to make sure they have funding in order to potentially go to college. Like we have different programs here, like Marquette University with their programs that they have, Upper Brown programs, right? Like the Department of Education helps funds a lot of different things. So hearing somebody talk about, and a white woman talk about the fact that, we'll be fine without the Department of Education, just as long as we get our funds, it's short-sighted. It's short-sighted, not seeing the bigger picture. So I couldn't really get jiggy to that because I just felt like that is what white privilege is all about, is the fact that you can just go on and act if they take away money for this, I don't have to worry about the other things that will impact on a college level. It's more than just what's going to happen here for the state students. It's also what's going to happen here for colleges and universities across the great state of Wisconsin as well. And then when I looked at the responses to that for the Department of Education basically being eliminated, Jill Underly and Jeff Wright, who are running for the same position, they also said that, listen, they wanted to focus on pushing back because they think it'll be problematic if they do something like that. But they also said that they want to focus on the well-being and the rights of different communities, right? So they didn't basically accept the fact that there were probably going to be some issues with Department of Education. They actually pushed back on it. So that's something that I also liked about their response as well. And then the biggest thing is when I look at Jill Underly and her performance, is Jill Underly, she's done some decent things, but her performance hasn't been the best, right? Jeff Wright, don't know much about him. I did my research about him. He's talking about basically trying to build up the communities, having better communication, and also holding, charter schools more accountable for, their test scores, right? And I think that's so important to really start holding some of these schools more accountable for their test scores. And the other thing about Brittany Kinzer that worried me a little bit is the fact that she's backed by Republican donors such as the Elon family, who heavily supports Donald Trump, and the Hendricks family. Diane Hendricks, who is one of the richest women in America, supports her as well. And for me, when it comes to school choice, I'm up in the air with it. I lean away from it. I want our kids to be educated. But overall, I do not advocate for anything that has to do with Republicans such as Diane Hendricks and the Elon family, who support with millions and millions of dollars towards Donald Trump. Because what we all know right now, what we're seeing in the White House with Elon Musk, is you're seeing Elon Musk have incredible access to the president. He's doing press conferences with the president. I have not seen J.D. Vance and Donald Trump doing a joint press conference, but I have seen Elon Musk and Donald Trump doing joint press conferences, right? Like that is crazy to me. But when you spend hundreds of millions of dollars on an election, you basically are getting power. You basically are paying for influence. And so what I do understand that if if Brittany Kinzer was to get elected, my biggest concern is the fact that she is indebted to the Republican Party, which the Republican Party has not shown that they care about black children. So that is my issue overall with her. And then also, she doesn't have a administrative license or a teaching license in the state of Wisconsin, which is also problematic to me as well. And again, I just don't trust anything that Republicans want to do, because what they are showing us right now is based off the fact that you're going to see millions of people from federal agencies who are going to be losing their jobs. Donald Trump did not say he was going to get rid of people and make people lose their job. Donald Trump did not say he was going to basically go into Gaza and take over Gaza, right, and build up new property fronts, right? Republicans say one thing and they do another. So that's why I cannot trust anybody being supported by the Republican Party. And so that's how I came to the conclusion I'm going to support Jeff Wright. But 833-212-1017. There's an article I want y'all to hear because I want y'all to be informed. It's from the Wausau News, and they're doing a breakdown of the three candidates that they have here. I'm going to have y'all listen to this. And then on the other side, I'm going to talk a little bit more about school choice and my opinion and thoughts on this. But this is an article from the Wausau News channel up there in Wausau, Wisconsin, talking about the candidates that are on the ballot tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow is the spring primary election day here in Wisconsin. What's on your ballot will vary depending on where you live.
Yeah, across Wisconsin, voters will have the chance to choose between three candidates for the state superintendent of public instruction. Jeff Wright is campaigning for what he calls reform within the department. On his campaign website, he says he wants to reduce local property taxes, use tests as a tool to help students grow, require all schools that get public funding to meet certain standards, and adjust rules so rural schools can qualify for more funding.
I think what we're seeing here is that a lot of people that are working in our schools are concerned about the direction of the Department of Public Instruction, concerned about Wisconsin schools, and they're looking for a change in leadership.
Brittany Kinzer is running as well. Her campaign website says her priorities include refocusing on fundamental skills like reading and math, supporting school choice, increasing the reimbursement rate for special education services, and creating an online dashboard for public access to school finances and performance.
I am the candidate for the kids. I want the support from families and from, teachers and anyone who wants to put our children first.
They are both running against incumbent Dr. Jill Underly. Her campaign website lists her accomplishments while in office, including bumping up Wisconsin's national standing in education from 14th to 6th in the country, hitting the highest graduation rates in state history at 90.5%, increasing support for career and technical education, and securing $10.5 million in federal grants for special education teacher recruitment.
And so my problem with Jill Underly is the fact that we can cut it there. My problem with Jill Underly is the fact that when MPS was floundering and struggling, she did absolutely nothing. They lowered the standards as well for the students across this state. So my issue with Jill Underly is the fact that I don't think she's done enough. Now, if I had to choose, though, I'm going with Jeff Wright, I'm going with Jill Underly, and then I'm not even selecting. I'm not voting for Brittany Kenzer because of the fact that, again, she's supported by Republicans, and hell no! I refuse to support anybody that is funded by Republicans because I do not trust them, which means I do not trust you. Plus, you've never held a teaching license in the state of Wisconsin, and you also currently do not hold an administrative license in the state of Wisconsin. That was from the Journal Sentinel just a couple weeks ago. But 833-212-1017. I see we got some calls coming in. Also see we got some texts as well. On the other side, I'll wrap up talking about this election and why you should definitely get out and vote, and also share some of my thoughts on just overall how I feel about, open enrollment, school choice, and the importance of making sure that our kids have a fair shot at education.
More of Truth to Power is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
It started with a prediction.
We'll go out there and play basketball and win.
And how many games?
6.
It became the culture.
Chance of Bucks in 6.
Being a Bucks fan means you live and breathe Bucks in 6. Brandon Jennings created the prophecy. Tune into Behind the Bucks, the story of Brandon Jennings on the Bucks Plus audio network. Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and streaming wherever you get your podcasts.
That's for the culture.
I walk on the shoulders of giants who have come before me. I am ASAP and Maya Angelou. I am Marva Collins and Frederick Douglass.
From A to Z, I celebrate, emulate, and commemorate their example.
This is part of the Declaration of Excellence Milwaukee College Prep Scholars recite, not just during Black History Month, but each and every morning, because our students don't just honor history, they're determined to shape it. Enroll your scholar at MilwaukeeCollegePrep.com.
People often wonder, what's the credit union difference? Well, let me tell you what's different about Educators Credit Union. We're more than just a financial institution. We're a team of people who are actively invested in the next generation and in the communities where you live and work. We're in classrooms teaching financial literacy, in neighborhoods building homes and relationships, and in local communities lending a helping hand. We believe when communities thrive, we all thrive. Educators Credit Union, achieving more together, insured by NCUA.
Life's better with American Family Insurance. Because whether it's a family road trip in your dream car or hosting a family reunion in your dream home, we help you feel protected so you can enjoy those dreams with peace of mind. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Heart disease won't stop us. Diabetes won't slow us down. Allergies, high blood pressure, shoulder pain, cancer. Nothing will keep us from pushing Wisconsin ahead. Because with the Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network, forward progress is what we stand for. That means always pushing and always innovating. With new technologies and breakthrough treatments that make life better, whether we're sick or well. It means providing more convenience and more ways to receive medical excellence for all your health needs, for big and small. It means being there for you, our family, caring for yours. So let's keep raising the bar. Let's keep testing the limits of what medicine can do. Let's push ahead and make life here as great as it can be. Visit Freighter.com to find out how.
You are listening to Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
1, 2, 3, ho!
Calling all Black-owned business owners and entrepreneurs, are you looking to share your story and grow your reach? We have teamed up with Associated Bank for our Black-owned business give back. Check this, y'all. Each quarter, 4 lucky Black-owned businesses will win an opportunity to have their business spotlighted right here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Yes, you will get a monthly spotlight on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. If you want that spotlight, sign up today for your business spotlight by visiting blackbusinessgiveback.com. That is blackbusinessgiveback.com. blackbusinessgiveback.com. Let's rebuild our community's backbone through exposure on the truth. For official contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com. That is 1017thetruth.com. 833-212-1017. Get your last comments on this conversation. I'm going to tell you this, Truth Nation. I wanted to get into a little bit more, but I'm going to tell you this. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk about how charter schools around the state of Wisconsin, specifically Milwaukee, and choice schools around Milwaukee are nothing but government and welfare pimp schools. I'm going to tell y'all exactly why. Y'all go ahead and look up the demographic and look up how they get their funding, and I promise you what you'll find is they are basically siphoning off money from the government. They are government pimps. I'm telling y'all this right now. Katrina, you're on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. We have 60 seconds for you.
Okay, Kyle, so first and foremost, I want to say that Donald Trump was right. When he said Wisconsin was a terrible city, he was right. I wish he wouldn't have retracted that, but he's right, and we are all seeing it. Secondly, I think that black people should not vote Democratic or Republican because the Democratic Party was drawn up by slave owners, white men that were slave owners, owned slaves while they were in office, had children by slaves, and the Republican Party also. So we need to let these white people have these parties, vote independent, and I think all the black people should move down to Atlanta and make Atlanta great again in the South, like we did in Oklahoma.
All right. I appreciate that, Katrina. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, Katrina. I think, hey, I ain't moving to Atlanta, but some of y'all can. I know a lot of people I know who moved to Atlanta and Texas. I'm going to stay right here in Milwaukee because I love Milwaukee. But I'm telling y'all this right now. Again, tomorrow's election day. Make sure y'all get out to vote. But on tomorrow's show, make sure y'all lock in because we're going to continue this conversation because we're going to talk about, I am a firm believer in kids getting the right education and kids having a choice of where they can go to school, but also I am against the fact that you have these Johnny-come-lately charter schools that come, get the funding, and dip out, right? Like, I know way too often that these kids will go to these charter schools, because I used to work at one, these charter schools will get these kids in here, then they kick them out, they keep the funding and kick them out, and guess where these kids go back to? They go back to MPS, and the money does not follow. A lot of these schools, like Universal School that was here and then left, a lot of these schools are only here for the money. They're not here for the kids. We're going to talk about why a lot of these charter schools around Milwaukee are pimping our kids. Keep it locked. I'll talk about that tomorrow. This has been Truth to Power on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I am Kyle Wallace. The Tory Lowe Show is up next. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Peace out.
On Friday night, the Milwaukee Panthers look to make it 3 wins in a row as they travel to Ohio to take on conference foe, the Youngstown State Penguins.
Lob it back in for J. Mike, bounce it inside for Franklin, and Aaron Franklin gives the Panthers the lead, 67-66.
Scott Warris has the coverage Friday starting at 7:30 p.m. on 1017 The Truth and the Milwaukee Panthers Sports Network from Learfield.
A theft, and KP will rise. He throws it down.
Tip-off happens at 8 p.m.
Calling all Black-owned business owners and entrepreneurs. Are you looking to share your story and grow your reach? We have teamed up with Associated Bank for our Black-owned business give back. Each quarter, 4 lucky business owners will win an opportunity to spotlight their brand and journey on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. To sign up for your business spotlight interviews, visit blackbusinessgiveback.com. Let's rebuild our community's backbone through exposure on the truth. For official rules, head to blackbusinessgiveback.com. Associated Bank, member FDIC.
Truth Nation, let us talk our ish for a moment. There is no other station in the country where you get a front row seat to hear from some of the biggest names in politics, pop culture, and sports. People like Grammy Award winner John Legend.
Knowing that fight isn't over, knowing that we've got to stay motivated and stay inspired. Glory was the song that myself and Common wrote. 2 brothers from the Midwest, from Chicago and from Springfield, Ohio.
Oscar Award winning actor Don Cheadle.
I know that we're the bright, shiny thing that sometimes gets the attention, but I would say don't listen to celebrities. You don't have to listen to us. Listen to yourself.
And President Donald Trump's son, Don Jr.
When did we have a strong economy? And I don't think anyone with a straight face can say right now. And the reality, when you look at it, it's not even voting for my father. Look at the team that's now surrounding him.